can search for Jaya Nilo Premadana. Jaya Nilo Premadana Karuna Praju Eno Prabhu Kota Kela Acharya Thakur Kahamora Swarup Rupa Kaha Sanatana Kaha Dasarago Nata Patita Pava Pava Kahamura Bata Juga Kaha kaviraj Eka kole kota gela goranatara Pasani kutivo mata Anali Pashivo Koranga Gunera Niri Kota Gile Pavo Se Sava Sangira Sange Je Koilo Bila Se Sangana Paya Kande Narodamoda Jaya Nilo Premadana Karuna Praju Eno Prabhu Kota Kela Acharya Thakur Eno Prabhu Kota Kela Ramachandra kaviraj Ramachandra kaviraj Eno Prabhu Kota Gela Ramachandra kaviraj. Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur. Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur. Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur, Jaya Vaishnava Thakur. Ananda Gauri Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai Nitya Leela Vishnu Vishnupada, His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada ki, ISKCON Samstapakacharya's Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada ki, Ananda Gauri Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Jai Nitya Leela Vishnu Vishnupada, His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki, Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhaktivinoda ki, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopi Goshama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana ki, Brajamumi Vrindavan Dham ki, Sri Navadip Maya Pradham ki, Sri Jagannath Puri Dham ki, Gangamai Jamunamai ki, Srimati Vrindadevi Tulsi Maharani ki, Srimati Bhakti Devi ki, Sri Harinam Sankirtan ki, Sri Sri Krishna Balaram Mandir ki, Srila Ramachandra Kaviraj Tirubhav Maha Mahotsav ki, Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami Avirbhav Maha Mahotsav ki, Nitai Gau Premanandi. All glories to the Assembled Devotees. All glories to the Assembled Devotees. All glories to the Assembled Devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. All glories to you, Srila Prabhupada. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svabadandiyam Aradhanastrinandandai Ridam Yache Puna Puna Srimad Rupa Padam Bhujo Dulisyam Janma Janmani Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Panchakalpa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Vaibhacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, but my spiritual master opened my eyes as torchlight of transcendental knowledge. Therefore I offer my humble obeisances at his lotus feet. So today is the holy disappearance day of Sri Ramachandra Kaviraj. So there was one Mahabhagavat devotee named Chiranjeev who lived in Kumarhata. Later he moved to Srikhand. And he had two jewel-like sons, both of them Param Vaishnavas, Ramachandra and Sri Govinda. Both of them became immersed in the glories of Sri Krishna. They became great Vaishnavas. Later, Ramachandra was married with a very, very devoted wife. It was great Vaishnavi. And at some point, he moved to the village of his in-laws, but they were all Saktas, worshippers of Shiva and Parvati. So they were always quite envious of him. In fact, he even became influenced by them, living amongst them. But one day, shortly after his marriage, he was going to another village. He passed through Yajigram, where it just so happened Srinivasacharya was staying in that place. And sitting on the porch, Srinivasacharya saw this procession going. He saw this fellow sitting on a palanquin. And Ramachandra also, he noticed this fellow sitting on the porch. And within his heart, something deeply attracted him to this fellow. And Srinivas asked all of his associates, who is this person going on the palanquin? What is his name? Where does he live? What is his caste? So they informed him about this. After Ramachandra reached his destination, within his heart he couldn't remove the memory of seeing that fellow sitting on the porch. And he began to think of various ways to go and meet him. Finally he left, he went back to Jajigram and came to the house of Srinivasacharya. And he fell at his feet, and Srinivas embraced him and said, life after life, we are eternal friends. I am so happy that you have come. And then he began to instruct him in Vaishnava philosophy. So all the influence of the Saktas was driven out from his heart, and he became a Param Vaishnava. When he returned to that village, constantly chanting the holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And all the Saktas became very envious. One day as he was going to take his bath in the river, one of the villagers said, why have you given up the path of your forefathers? At least on his wife's side. You should worship Lord Shiva. And Ramachandra answered that Lord Brahma, he prays for inspiration to do the creation to Lord Krishna. Lord Shiva, he honors Lord Krishna by taking the water that touched the feet of Lord Vamandev. He carries that on his head. All the Saktas were astonished. They had no answer. One day, Srinivas asked him to go to Vrindavan. So Ramachandra Kaviraj, he left those days. You didn't go to the airport and catch Jet Airways, you had to walk. So he walked all the way across northern India to reach Vrindavan. When he reached there, he met all of the Goswamis, almost all of them. And just so happened that his guru, Srinivasacharya, was there in Vrindavan. Immediately he embraced him and kept him there in Vrindavan with him and took him to meet all of the different Goswamis and get their blessings. And he took him to the samadhi of Sanatana Goswami near Dwadasa Jatila, and he fell down like a rod before Sanatana Goswami's samadhi. In this way, he remained with Srinivasacharya in Vrindavan for some time, receiving instruction, and also getting the mercy of Srila Jiva Goswami and all the other Goswamis. Finally, Srinivas sent him back to return to Bengal. And he returned there and preached. And many sinners were brought to the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. Many pasandis were rectified from their ways. Many great people took shelter of Ramachandra Kaviraj. At some point, Narottam called for the Kaviraj festival. And Ramachandra immediately went because he had met him in Vrindavan, and they developed a very sweet, intimate friendship. So immediately he traveled to Kaviraj and he helped with all the preparations. He helped Narottam with all the preparations for Kaviraj festival. Even after the festival, he remained there with Narottam Das Thakur and Kaviraj. And they relished a wonderful Krishna Katha. But one day Srinivasacharya visited, and he told his disciple Ramachandra Kaviraj, you go back to Vrindavan. So again he made second trip to Vrindavan. But this time when he arrived, he found that all the Goswamis had left. They had all left this world. Sanatana had already left even in his first trip. Rupa had gone, Jiva had gone, Raghunath Bhatta had gone, Raghunath Das had gone, all the Goswamis had gone. He was drowned in the ocean of separation. Unable to bear that pain of separation, he also entered the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna in the spiritual world. On this day, few hundred years ago, he left for the eternal pastimes of Radha and Krishna, where he takes part in those pastimes as Karna Manjari. His identity in Braj Leela is Karna Manjari. In fact, his samadhi can be found on the other side of Vrindavan. There's one Deer Samir Kunj. And just near the samadhi of Srinivasacharya is also the samadhi of Ramachandra Kaviraj. And we know that he was so devoted to Narottam that we know that verse. It always used to bewilder me before I understood the whole history, that why Narottam is praying Ramachandra Sangamangi Narottama Das. Because we know that Narottam was extremely devoted to the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna, why he's praying for Ramachandra. When I was a young devotee, I was always very confused. But that Ramachandra is Ramachandra Kaviraj. And he got that name, Kaviraj, when he visited Vrindavan for the first time. Jiva Goswami heard his preaching and his poetry. So Jiva Goswami awarded him the name Kaviraj. Kavi means poet. So he awarded him the name Kaviraj. So that's how he became known as Ramachandra Kaviraj. So that Ramachandra Narottam Das is praying for his son. Because we always want to remain in the Sangh of the Vaishnavas. Because without the mercy of the Vaishnavas, we cannot make any advancement in Krishna consciousness. It's very important, Vaishnava Sangh. And in the association of Vaishnavas, we should be very careful. The thing that disturbs our progress is Vaishnava Parad. By the mercy of the Vaishnavas, we can make great advancement in Krishna consciousness. But unless we are very careful in that association of Vaishnavas, not to commit offenses. If we commit offenses, then our progress will be checked. Just like Narottam sings, Haristani aparade, Tare Harinam. If we make offense to the Lord, Tare Harinam, that Harinam, simply chanting the holy name, that will be vanished, vanquished. Just like we know in the next devotion, it gives a whole list of seva aparads. But it said those aparads can be vanquished just by chanting the holy name. But Tomastani aparadit nahi paritran. But if Narottam is addressing Vaishnava Goswami, he said, Tomastani, if we make offense towards you, then nahi paritran. We heard this word paritran before, in Bhagavad Gita. This verse. But for you, no paritranaya sadhuna. So Ramachandra Sangamange, Narottam. We always pray for the merciful association of the Vaishnavas. So today is also the holy appearance day of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. We know that shortly after reaching Puri, after taking sannyas, on the petition of his mother, Lord Chaitanya went to Puri. He wanted to go to Vrindavan, but his mother said, because that time it was a big long distance, everybody walked. We will hardly get any information about you. But if you go to Puri, the Bengalis, their favorite place of pilgrimage is Puri. In fact, just recently we were there in Puri with Madhavananda's retreat. And I had my friend Arjun Bhattacharya, who's Bengali, so he was able to communicate with all the rickshawalas. So the other rickshawala said, without the Bengalis, we would have no business. So his favorite place. The Bengalis always coming and going, at least we'll get some information of your pastimes. So Lord Chaitanya, he's a Supreme Personality God, he's independent, but he's moved by the love of his devotees, moved by the love of his mother. He promised her to go to Puri. But shortly after going to Puri, then he left to go on his South Indian tour to spread the chanting of the holy name throughout the southern portion of Bharat. So on his travels, he came to Sri Rangam, where there's an enormous, majestic temple whose towers pierce the sky. Thousands and thousands of pilgrims come and go to take darshan of Sri Ranganath. Hundreds of Brahmins are always chanting hymns. Huge sound vibration is in the temple as hundreds of Brahmins chant Vedic hymns. In the midst of all this hustle and bustle, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived. And seeing Lord Ranganath, he began to dance in ecstasy, chanting the holy name of Krishna, 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 Krishna. All the pilgrims and Brahmins in the temple were astonished. All the other Brahmins, they began to push the pilgrims out of the way so Mahaprabhu could dance. Seeing the dancing Mahaprabhu and the ecstatic emotions that he was displaying, they thought, must be some demigod who's descended from the heavenly planets. Otherwise, how is it possible for a human to display such emotions? He came directly before Jai Sisi Gaurnitai Krishna Baldao Sisi Radha Sham Sundar Ki Jai. He came directly before the deity of Lord Ranganath, Immediately he fell flat on the floor, like a golden rod. All the people were astonished. Watching him roll on the ground in front of Lord Ranganath. So because this has created quite a bit of commotion, the head priest of the temple was Venkatabhatta. So we know as soon as there's some commotion, immediately we run to the temple president. Oh, this is going on. So Venkatabhatta, he also ran to the temple. He saw the beautiful golden form of Mahaprabhu and saw his ecstatic emotions. He fell at his feet and took the dust of Mahaprabhu's feet. And when Mahaprabhu calmed down from his dancing and chanting, then he invited him, Prabhu, you please come and bless my home with your lotus feet. If your lotus feet will enter my small house, then I will be eternally blessed. So seeing his devotion, the Mahaprabhu agreed to come to his house. He washed his lotus feet. After giving him a suitable sitting place, he washed his lotus feet. He sprinkled the water on his head and all the family members and residents of the place. He fed him wonderful South Indian prasadam. Mahaprabhu enjoyed a wonderful feast. Then he gave him nice place to take rest. Then Venkatabhatta, he wasn't the head of the temple for no reason. He was very clever. After Mahaprabhu took rest, he came and began to massage his lotus feet. And he said, Prabhu, today the rainy season has started, Chaturmasya. All the roads will be flooded. The bridges will be washed out. Very difficult to travel at this time. Most of the sadhus, they remain in one place for Chaturmasya. So I'm begging you, please remain here for the 4 months of Chaturmasya. Very clever fellow. Mahaprabhu never stayed more than 3 days. We know when he met Kurma Brahman, he stayed for 3 days. Then Kurma Brahman, the 3rd day, he was getting ready to go. Not like you with 2 Samsonite suitcases. Lota or kambal, sadhu ka sambal. Just kambal means blanket. Just blanket and lota. Bas. And Kurma Brahman fell at his feet and said, Mahaprabhu, in your association we're getting so much ecstasy, you please stay. Mahaprabhu said, no. I didn't take sannyas to enjoy in any householder's house. I never stay more than 3 days. Oh, but Prabhu, we're feeling so much ecstasy in your association. Please stay 1 more night. Seeing the wonderful devotion of Kurma Brahman, Mahaprabhu broke his own rule. He stayed for 4th night. Now, what to speak of 4 nights? Mahaprabhu just promised to stay for 4 months. Venkatabhatta had a very wonderful brother named Prabodhanand Saraswati, who had taken sannyas. They were both from Sri Sampradaya, Ramanuja Sampradaya. He marveled at the philosophy that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was preaching. And Venkatabhatta, he also had one son named Gopal. When Gopal came, Mahaprabhu, he fell at his feet. Just like wherever we go in India, the people, they bring their children and they push their head down. Sometimes they have to force them, sometimes they automatic, they're very well behaved. They immediately bow down and touch the feet. And Mahaprabhu picked him up and put him on his lap and stroked his hair. Gopal was very dear to him. So every day he invited Gopal to come For 4 months, Gopal Bhatta got most wonderful VIHE class. You imagine joining the VIHE and your teacher is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. 4 months he directly heard Vaishnava philosophy, Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, directly from the mouth of Srimad Mahaprabhu. And we know at the end of those 4 months, Gopal Bhatta and Venkata Bhatta, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Venkata Bhatta had developed a friendship. So toward the end of those 4 months, they were walking near the Kaveri river one day, and Mahaprabhu asked Venkata Bhatta, "Your Lakshmiji, she's known as the most chaste woman. But why has she left all the opulence of Vaikuntha to go to Vrindavan to associate with this cowherd boy Krishna?" And Venkata Bhatta said, "Well, Krishna is just another form of her husband. There's nothing wrong if she associates with her husband in another form." Mahaprabhu says, "That is not my point. I'm not questioning her chastity. But we know from Srimad Bhagavatam that she was not allowed to enter the rasa dance. She began to perform great penances and austerities. On the opposite side of the river, there's a place called Belvan. There in Belvan, you can see, if you ask the pujari to lift up her cloth, you can see 2 hands are like this and 2 hands like this. In her forearm form, she's there performing penances and austerities. So Mahaprabhu says, she's the wife of Vaikuntha Pati, the Lord of Vaikuntha. How she was performing penances and austerities to enter Vrindavan, still she's not allowed. Then Venkata Bhatta, he began to shake. He said, "Oh Prabhu, only you know your pastimes." Then he understood who Chaitanya, only you know your pastimes. And Mahaprabhu began to explain the exalted position of the gopis who have given up everything for Krishna. Lakshmiji, she's unable to give up that abhiman, that pride that I am the wife of Vaikuntha Pati, Lord Narayan. Because we know only those who become followers of the cowherd damsels of Braj, they're able to enter Vrindavan, are able to enter the rasa dance. How she's going to become follower of cowherd girl? Cowherd girls are always making cow dung patties. Can we imagine Lakshmiji touching cow dung? Milking cows? So you can go, she's still there, sitting in Belvan, in meditation. You see 2 hands like this. Still sitting in meditation. In fact, now the month of Magh has started, but previous month was known as Posh. And every Thursday in that month of Posh, there's Khichdi Mela in Belvan. You may have been to Belvan, very desolate place, tiny place. But there will be 20,000, 30,000 people all day long coming through that tiny place. Those who have been on Prikrama with me, you know that even the bus can't come there. We have to walk for 1.5 kilometers through tiny villages. So you can imagine what type of traffic jam is there. The easiest way to do is take a boat across the Jamuna, and you'll see all the Brishvasis going through the fields. You won't get lost. You walk for 20 minutes through beautiful fields. Once you get on the other side of Jamuna, it's a completely different world. No more You just walk through peaceful fields of mustard and wheat, for 20 minutes, only 20-minute walk, nice walk. And you'll come to the big Khichdi Mela. Now why there's Khichdi Mela there in that place? And why every Thursday? Because only it's known that one Thursday in Posh, Krishna told the gopis, I'm going to Belvan to give darshan to Lakshmiji. But nobody knows which Thursday, so they do the Mela every Thursday, just to cover all the bases. So Krishna thought, Lakshmi, she's very big, so he came in the form of a small cowherd boy. And he sat beside Lakshmi, who was doing her meditation, and then he began to cry. His crying broke her meditation. She looked, she saw a small boy there. Now Lakshmiji's woman, she cannot tolerate to see child crying. But you see, even now, 5,000 years later, just tiny little villages that you can't even hardly get your car through it. So we can imagine 5,000 years ago, nothing was there. But somehow or other, from the villagers, she got a little rice, she got a little dal, she mixed together and cooked some khichdi for Lord Gopal. So because of that khichdi being offered to Lord Gopal, then last month, every Thursday, so many big businessmen go there and they set up their big kaviraj, this big across, bigger than this, and dig a big hole in the ground and make a fire. And you see 5 or 6 places are distributing burn your finger hot khichdi prasad. So therefore Lakshmi is still there performing penance on us. She's not allowed. So Mahaprabhu revealed the higher position of worship of Radha and Krishna. Then the 4 months of Chaturmasi elapsed. He called Gopal to his side. He told him, you stay here and you serve your mother and father. He gave him 3 instructions. You stay here and serve your mother and father till they leave this world. Second instruction was, they will try to get you married in so many ways, you don't ever get married. And third instruction was, after your parents leave this world, then you go to Vrindavan and join Rup Sanatan and all the other Goswamis. So Gopal Bhatta, he served his aged mother and father until they left this world. They made so many plans for his marriage, but he always refused. When they left this world, then he traveled to Vrindavan to be with Rupa and Sanatan. They welcomed him into the fold of the Goswamis here in Vrindavan. And he used to move all around Braj. In one village called Sanket, we'll find a bhajan kutir of Gopal Bhatta Goswami. Especially he loved Radhakund. He spent so much time at Radhakund. When you come after Gopinath temple, there's a road that goes, a little path down to the Sangam. And there's a big wall. In the middle of that wall, you've seen a little doorway is there and a staircase. You go up that staircase, that is the bhajan kutir of Gopal Bhatta. Not far from the Teen Goswami Samadhi. But when he reached Vrindavan, he found that Mahaprabhu had already come and left. He was hoping to meet Mahaprabhu there. Being bereft of his association, he started toward Puri. In a dream, Mahaprabhu told him, you go back, I will come. A second time to Vrindavan. We know Mahaprabhu never came second time. At that time there was no WhatsApp. Letters used to go by foot. Oh, you're going to Vrindavan, take this letter and deliver it to so-and-so. Took a long time, not like now. Oh, ding dong. Oh, So letters would come for Sanatana Goswami, Rupa Goswami, ityadi, to come to Puri to visit Mahaprabhu. But no letter came for Gopal Bhatt. One day, I can't remember, it was Rupa or Sanatan was going to Puri. So Gopal Bhatta gave him a letter in which he expressed his despair that you have called all the other Goswamis, but you've never called me. And Mahaprabhu, he gave, when he got that letter, he gave instruction to, whether it was Rupa or Sanatan, I can't remember. You tell him that it is my order that he never leave Vrindavan. And he had a little wooden sitting place we call hoki. And he gave that, and he gave his chadar. He said, give these things to Gopal Bhatt and tell him to see them as non-different from me and worship them, and his feelings of separation will be assuaged, will be relieved. So they brought that wooden sitting place and that chadar of Mahaprabhu back to Gopal Bhatt, and he never left Vrindavan except for one time. That wooden choki you can still see on the Janmashtami day and the appearance day of Radharaman, which we'll get to in a minute. On our right side of the altar, you'll see a silver singhasan, you'll see something black. It looks like a big, long Shalagram Shila. Because for 500 years they've been putting oil on that wooden sitting place. It's become black and shiny. But that's actually wood. And then they have, on the appearance day and the Janmashtami, maybe one or two other special occasions, you'll see a big frame with a big, in tilak, Vaishnav tilak on the glass, and behind that glass is Mahaprabhu's chadar. So those things still there and worshipped in Radharaman temple. So he never left, except for one time. And then in collaboration with Sanatana Goswami, he wrote this Hari Bhakti Vilas, where all the rituals and rites of the Vaishnavas are described. It's ascribed to Gopal Bhatta, but we know from history that Sanatana Goswami also collaborated in this work. So all the rites and rituals of the Vaishnavas is described. Because there's so many karmakanda rites and rituals, so to show the actual rites and rituals of the Vaishnavas, he wrote this book. One time, eventually, the news came to Braj that Mahaprabhu has left this world. He entered into the beautiful deity of Tota Gopinath. Now we know Tota Gopinath is the only deity of Krishna we've ever seen sitting in Padmasana. And there's many reasons. To this time, Madhavananda revealed another reason. Because Gopinath is the one who calls all the gopis to the rasa dance. So they were dancing and dancing, and eventually they became a little tired. So the gopis, they spread nice cloth on the sand and asked Gopinath to sit. Therefore he's sitting. Because we've always heard that it was because Gadadhar Pandit, in his old age, he couldn't reach. So Gopinath sat down. There's many reasons. Well, some people say that's not true because Gadadhar never reached old age. After Mahaprabhu left, he couldn't bear the separation. After him came, was named Jaru Thakur. Mama Thakur, yes. So it was because Mamu Thakur in his old age, he couldn't reach that he sat down. So 3 reasons. I learned the third one this time. So Mahaprabhu entered into that Tota Gopinath and left this world. When that news reached to Gopal Bhatta, he was thrown into the fire of separation. Without Mahaprabhu, how could he remain in this world? Even Vrindavan looked like the mouth of a ferocious tiger. We know if we saw a ferocious tiger, how frightened we would be. So even Vrindavan looked like that to him. We can't imagine. The hardest part about visiting Vrindavan is to leave, isn't it? That's the hardest part. But he was seeing even Vrindavan like the mouth of a ferocious tiger. So he decided to leave for some time, go on pilgrimage, to go to Nepal, to Muktinath. On his way, not far from Haridwar, there's a place called Saharanpur, where there lived a very pious Brahmin named Mahesh Sharma. He received Gopal very warmly in his home and fed him and kept him there for some days. He had 2 sons, Damodar and Gopinath. So Gopal Bhatta said, I'm old man, you please let your son Damodar come with me to assist me in my journey. Those days journey by foot was very difficult. To go by foot and to sometimes have to cook by yourself, very difficult. So Mahesh Pandit was very pleased that his son would get association with such a wonderful Vaishnava. So they traveled together to Nepal, to Muktinath, to the Gandaki river. When Gopal Bhatta arrived there, he wanted to take bath, so he entered the water and he dipped his lota just in the top of the water to pour that water on his head. But when he pulled the lota out of the water, now he hadn't dipped it all the way to the bottom, just dipped it under the surface. There was some shalagram shilas in his lota. So he poured the water out, he dipped again. Again shalagram shilas came in his lota. He hadn't dug to the bottom. Again dumped them out. Again, 3rd time he scooped and 12 shalagram shilas were there in his lota. Then he thought, this is 3rd time, this must be something. Must be some Lord's desire. So he kept all those shalagram shilas and began to worship them. On his way back, as he passed through Saharanpur, he begged Mahesh Pandit that this boy is so nice, he has served me so nicely, let him come with me to Vrindavan. Although Mahesh Pandit couldn't tolerate the separation from his son Damodar, seeing what a wonderful Vaishnava Gopal Bhatta was, he allowed him to come to Vrindavan with him, go to Vrindavan with him. So just not far from Nidhuban, in fact he's actually a part of Nidhuban, but now it's all built up, just one little piece has been preserved, but that whole area was Nidhuban forest. He began to hang his shalagram shilas in a tree. And assisted by Damodar, he would worship those shalagrams every day. One day, one wealthy person came to Braj, and he was giving clothes and mukuts and jewelry and so many things to all the Goswamis for their deities. He came to Gopal Bhatta. He offered them to him, and Gopal Bhatta said, what can I do? I only have shalagram. I have no deity with arm and leg and head and all this thing. What I'll do with them? And that businessman insisted, you keep them anyway. So he kept them along with his shalagram shilas. One day, it was Nrsimha Chaturdasi. It was shortly after that incident. And Gopal was feeling very sorrowful. All the other Goswamis, they have nice deities with arms and legs and head and feet and hands and so many things. I only have my shalagram. He was feeling this sadness within his heart. So then he read that part of the 7th canto, those chapters involved with Nrsingadev Leela. Then he closed the Bhagavatam and he began to pray to the Lord that to satisfy your devotee, you appeared from a pillar. Please somehow or other satisfy my desire. And he went to sleep. Morning he went to take his bath in the Jamuna. He came back, he opened up, because he was just keeping his that time there was no temples, anything. So he was just keeping them in a bag and hanging them in that tree. That tree is still there, just before you get to Gopal Bhatta Samadhi. There's a big arch there and a big tree. That place is the place. He opened up his bag, and there, sitting with all the shalagrams, this beautiful form of deity. Completely enchanting deity. Even his exquisitely manifested. Even his fingernails, his toenails, the rings on his toes, everything, you can see tiny, tiny details. Immediately sent Damodar to call all of the other Goswamis. They all came running. They saw the beauty of this deity. They were astonished. Everyone said, he has the legs and feet of Madan Mohan. He has the broad chest of Gopinath. And he has the Mukha Chandra of Govindadev. All three deities in one. So that is on the Purnima, his appearance day, the Purnima, right after Nrsinga Chaturdasi. So they held a big festival. And I think it was Rupa Goswami who named him Radha Raman. Raman means to love. Who loves Radha? Everybody was so astonished. Then later on, when Janavama visited Braj, she met Srila Jiva Goswami, and she suggested that we put Radha. At that time all the deities, Govindadev, Gopinath, Madan Mohan, they were all alone. No Radha deity was there. Because sometimes these professional bhajan singers, they try to tell story that Mirabai came here and she wanted to meet Jiva Goswami, and Jiva Goswami said, I don't meet with women. And Mirabai responded, I didn't know there was any other man here besides Krishna. This is obviously bogus story, because not only did he meet with Janavama, a woman, he accepted suggestion of a woman. Jiva Goswami accepted the suggestion of a woman. So this is a totally bogus, made-up story. So then Radharani was installed next to all the deities. Somehow in Radharaman's case, somehow that Radharani disappeared mysteriously. Therefore we never see Radharani with Radharaman. We see there's an asan with a little sari and a little chandrika there. Represents the place of Radharani, but no Radharani, because she disappeared mysteriously. So then Gopal Bhatt took those nice cloths that had been donated to him. He was able to dress and put crown and bangles and ankle bells and so many things on his deity. His joy knew no bounds. In his old age, Gopal was wondering, who will take care of this deity after I leave? So he thought, best I give it to some householder, then their family will worship that deity forever. So he told Damodar Goswami, I want you to get married. And Damodar Goswami said, no. I managed this long, I don't want to get married. But my brother Gopinath, he's already married. I will go to Saharanpur and bring him here. So he brought Gopinath Goswami. And they turned the worship over to Gopinath Goswami, who had, I believe he had 4 sons. And so from those 4 sons, the lines are coming down. And each of them gets 6 months worship in the every 6 months, but 6 months, 6 months, 6 months, and it goes around. The worship goes around like that. Our dear Padmanabh Goswami, he's in that eldest son's line, coming from Gopinath Goswami. So the worship is done like that by these 4 families taking 6 months' turn. And on the appearance day of Radharaman and on Jamastami also, but especially on the appearance day, big festival is there. When I first came to Vrindavan, they were using 500 liters of milk in that Abhishek. Now it must be close to 1,500, maybe 2,000 liters of milk. It's a very wonderful Abhishek. It goes on for a long time. You're just sitting there, seeing, because he comes out close to the edge of the altar. And one very fortunate Goswami just holds onto his feet to keep him steady so he doesn't fall over. So for hours he's just holding onto the feet of Radharaman. And who's ever turned at service that time, he's pouring tons, 1,500 liters of milk, what to speak of, then yogurt, and then so many other things, ghee, honey. Then you'll see them bring clay pots. Those clay pots have water that's been brought by foot from the 7 auspicious rivers. They only allow it to be put in clay pot. So they pour that, and water with kesher in it. Then they put jewels in a little special container with holes in it. So they bathe the Lord with Ratanjal. It's got little holes in it, but they just put the jewels inside, Ratanjal, and then a guru, and so many special things they bathe the Lord. So every year after Nishinga Chaturdasi, you can go on, next day, on the Purnima day, you can go and see that wonderful Abhishek. And you can see that sitting place of Mahaprabhu, and you can see that cloth that Mahaprabhu actually wore. So this is a few drops of Vaishnav history that they asked me to present before the Vaishnavas. Hare Krishna. Srila Ramachandra Kaviraj ki, Srila Gopal Bhatta Goswami ki. Hare Krishna.